everyone, welcome back to a new Infinity Circuit mobility workout. We have 10 really great mobility exercises for you. Grab a mat, get your water, make sure your workout is started on your fitness tracker, and let's see how many rounds we can do. All right, first one, we're gonna be standing at the end of our mat. We're gonna take a nice little stretch down for the hamstrings, and then we're going to walk the hands out to our push-up position. Make sure we're tucking the hips, squeezing the glutes, and then walking ourselves back up with legs. We don't want to be 100% locked out, but as straight as possible before we get to that locked knee position. So just working on warming up the shoulders here, getting a nice stretch in the hamstrings, warming the body up, squeeze those glutes, tuck that tailbone, bring it back up, get a nice little stretch here. You can also let the head hang a little bit more, let that neck decompress with the weight of your head hanging down. Okay, let's take it onto your back next. You're gonna lay on your side. Knees are gonna be stacked, arms stacked. You can rest your head on the floor if you want. I think it's a little more comfortable staying up. And then we're gonna open up that upper body. My goal is to keep this shoulder down, keep my knees down, so I don't want my knees opening up in order for me to reach that shoulder back. And we want to open up the chest and the front of the shoulder here. So nice big stretch across the chest, nice little twist in the spine, and bring it back. A little exhale as you open up. This is what it will look like from the other side. So I'm laying on my side, and then big open up. My goal is to get this shoulder to touch the floor, again, without pulling my top leg off of my bottom leg here. So lots of twist and rotation through that core. Exhaling as you open up. We want to work on first getting the back of the hand to touch the floor, then the forearm, and then the shoulder. Very nice. Next, we're going to take it onto our stomach. And these are going to be, these are called scorpions. So, another big stretch for the upper body here as well as the lower body. We're going to keep our eyes down, shoulders and hands down. One leg is going to lift up and away from that bottom leg. And as if I'm trying to touch my toes to my fingertips on the opposite hand, I'm going to bend my knee, lift that leg high, get a nice little twist and reach across. So this movement ends as soon as my shoulder starts coming up off the floor, because then that defeats the purpose of the rotation if my body is just following. So I really want to focus on keeping the shoulders down and getting that range of motion. A nice little stretch in the hip on that top leg, and keeping the eyes and the forehead down to keep that neck neutral with the spine. Take a little exhale as you reach as far as you can. Excellent. Love that one. Next up, hip bridge to the shoulder roll. So I'll show you this way so you can have a little better angle. So we're going to take it up to that bridge. I am actually going to roll onto my shoulder, pushing with that opposite leg and reaching up and over to that opposite corner. Inhale, coming down. I'm going to bridge my hips up, roll onto my opposite shoulder to reach all the way across. Bridge up. I'm going to drive with my left foot to roll onto my right shoulder and reach that left arm up. Inhale, coming down. Exhale, drive, reach to the other side. So nice big stretch through your side here, and then we're also working on that shoulder so it feels nice and comfortable. If you were ever in a situation where you had to tuck and roll, we want to make sure that we're rolling over the shoulder and not over our head and neck. Bridging the hips up, and I'm using my eyes to actually look where I'm going here also. Fantastic. All right, next, let's take it to a downward dog, and then we're going to step into a deep lunge. So a little build off of what we did in the first workout. So you're in that push-up position. We're gonna sit back into the downward dog, dropping the heels, pushing the chest towards the toes, and then on that return, big step up into a lunge. My knee is right on top of my ankle. Nice big stretch in the hip on that back leg. Bring it back, sit back into that downward dog, drop the heels, work through the chest and the shoulders. Big step up, bring that other foot up. Knee is right on top of the ankle, back leg nice and straight, big stretch in the hip here. Inhale, coming back. Big exhale on that step up. You can take your time with this, or we can pick up that pace. Get a few more repetitions in here. Good. Nice, breathing with it. And excellent. All right. So, let's go. Just angle myself a little bit. So we're gonna sit back in a child's pose. So I'm gonna sit between my feet as low as I can. Forearms are gonna stay down. And all I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna drop and reach my shoulder towards the opposite wrist. So I wanna do this while staying down, back in my hips as much as possible. So I'm not trying to come up and lift my hips. I wanna stay low with my hips, keeping my forearms on the floor, my hands on the floor, and the hips are gonna come forward a little bit. I just wanna make sure I'm not lifting them, and I'm really sitting back into the hips, and then rotating through that shoulder. Feel a little stretch in the front of the shoulder here as you do this. You can keep your hands flat as well. You don't have to hold hands. Little inhale, sitting back. Exhale, drive that shoulder forward. Big, big stretch on the inside of the legs here. So if any of that feels tight at all, we can modify. You can sit up a little bit higher and start working on getting a little bit lower into the hips. So we're actually gonna stay here for the next one. We're gonna add a little challenge to it. So we're stretching through those hips, and then we're going to step one foot up. Don't worry about keeping your heel down. So let's go. Big exhale as we step up. And your goal on this one is to sit back into those hips again. Keep the elbows down, and then step up. So lots of mobility in the hips here. Exhale. You can step out a little bit wider for this one. Don't need to bring the foot right up next to you. You can step it out wider, but we want to keep those forearms down. So this is going to be very challenging to pull that leg through and get a big, big stretch through the hips here. So just take your time with it. And of course we can modify, come up to the hands, sit back into that child's pose, and come up here. Okay, so if the forearms is challenging, bring it up onto the hands. Really work on opening up those hips. That one is very tricky. Take your time with that one. Next, we're gonna take it to a tactical kneel. So we're just gonna pretend like we're sitting on the floor here, and we wanna get up quick. I'm gonna base my hand down, and I'm gonna pull my knee right up under my hip. And then I'm gonna get up. Hand comes back down, pull that leg through, and I'm back to seated. So hand comes down, pulling my knee right under my hip, and then I'm up. Back down, back down. So hip mobility required here. Open open up, take it down, take it down. Now, of course, because we do have a jiu-jitsu component to this, that free hand up on top, if we were actually doing this for practical jiu-jitsu purposes, say there's somebody in front of me and I want to get away, I'm using this top hand as a blocker, and then I'm moving my hips away so that I can get up and not have to turn my back. So we're here, hand to the floor, one hand up, pulling that knee right under, and then getting up. Awesome. All right, next we're gonna take it to a prone press. So prone meaning stomach down. Hands are gonna be right underneath the shoulders here. I'm gonna keep a tuck in my toes, and as if I were gonna do a tricep push-up, except I'm not actually going to lift my entire body. I'm gonna get a nice back bend, and then come back down. So nice big exhale, keeping my elbows tucked in tight, squeezing my glutes. I feel an extra big stretch in my core, in the front of my abs here. A nice little back bend in the spine. And if we're needing a little more flexibility in the toes, you should feel a nice stretch in the toes as you keep that bend back there. Extend the arms as much as you can. Little stretch in the hips. Really, the benefit on this one here is that back bend. We spend a lot of time hunched forward in improper posture. So to take our spine the other direction, very nice, very healthy for it. And relax. Okay. We did a tuck and roll on the previous mobility workout. So we're gonna do kind of a similar, we're going to roll back, but this time we're gonna come up and we're gonna sweep the legs to a 90-90 here. So I'm gonna rock back and my legs are gonna come up to 90-90. Should turn the other way. So getting that hip mobility, we've done the 90-90 sweep before. Rock back, hips up to 90-90, sitting up nice and tall. Little rock back. I'm sticking with one side right now. Let's take it to the other side. If you can alternate, you're more than welcome to alternate. Sometimes the coordination is a little tricky, so you can practice one side and then the other side first. Inhale, coming back, and exhale up to that 90-90. If we need to use the hands, feel free to use your hands to help get you in that position. And then we sit up nice and tall. Again, opening up the hips. Excellent. Nice work. Again, I'm sure these are very unfamiliar movements, which is totally fine. Take your time with it, have fun, master the movements, and we'll see you next time.